What's up, everyone? We are back on another episode of Pound for Pound. I am the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
A Shadow Line production.
Henry UFC 317 took place. And of course, I have to use my Spanish, so I have to talk like this, Henry, because, you know, my brother from Spain, he fought yesterday, and hey, this was a very, very fantastic fight, Henry. I told you, El Fantástico, it was going to happen. El Matador is a very, 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 very muy grande superstar. What do you think, Henry? What do you think?
You sounding like Money Moicano, bro. You sounding like Tony Montana.
Man, Henry, I mean, what a like, on paper, let's be honest, on paper, this wasn't necessarily international fight week worthy card. Can we agree on that? You start looking at the names on the card, you're like, main card, first fight, you got Payton Talbott. He's a good prospect, but he's young, you know. He just lost his last fight. That's, does that belong on the main card of an international fight week card? And then you run to the next fight. Beneil Dariush versus Moicano. Good fight. But then you go Joshua Van versus Brendan Royval, international fight week card. Man, I tell you what, every one of those fights over-delivered to where I was like, I mean, there was a lot of energy in there because it's International Fight Week. But, jeez, those fights delivered, Henry. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Tell me how you felt about the card.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head, bro. I think it didn't seem like it was your typical International Fight Week. But, bro, you almost got to say this is the best international fight card ever. Like, this card right now is leading International Fight Week, in my opinion, is probably the best card of the year thus far.
Listen, Georgia, stand up. Peace up. Not ATL down, just the country of Georgia. Georgia, stand up. I think they might have number one, arguably 2 or 3 P4P right now in the world. I will have to say, I can pretend I give Illia Topuria pound for pound.
Yeah. Wow, I never thought I'd hear that come out of that slippery tongue of yours, Kush.
Pause. Yeah. But I've been pondering that all since I saw that fight. I've been pondering that. And remember, because we had a situation like this similar when Alex Pereira was doing what he was doing. But there's a difference here. Alex Pereira wasn't doing that against necessarily the caliber Ilia is doing that against. And not just necessarily doing that, not just the caliber, but everything he's putting into this fight. I mean, Illia Topuria dominated Charles Oliveira every facet of the game. Charles went to his wheelhouse. Charles went there. Charles went to the wheelhouse. He went to the ground. Illia Topuria passed his guard and crucified him. Bruh. Who has showed all the skill sets, all the facets of the game as well as he has and still put them away with his hands, mano y mano, putting them away. And if we really if we really break down this fight with the way that it went, we knew this potentially could happen because of the way Charles Oliveira fights. Charles Oliveira is a legend, of course, and Charles Oliveira, kind of had this kind of thing going on in his career until he found the switch. And he said, hey, if I just put everybody in the fire right away, at some point, they're going to want to stop the fire from coming. So they're going to try to run away, or either they're going to shoot to try to stop the fire from coming. And that's when I'm opportunistic. I get their neck, take them down, get their back, and I finish the fights. And that's where Charles finishes a lot of guys, because he puts them in the fire, because he just goes forward. Now you can't do that against a guy that's as balanced as Illia Topuria. Probably one of the most well-balanced mixed martial artists I've seen so far. Now there's different aspects. There's a lot of kickers. There's guys that can kick really, really well. But this guy, as far as using his hands, using his feet, stopping shots, taking shot, getting shots, getting on top, using the grappling. I'm telling you right now, beating the pound for pound number one in Alexander Volkan. Well, the pound for pound at the time, former pound for pound Alexander Volkanovski, then arguably the pound for pound before, in that featherweight division, arguably the greatest featherweight before that we've seen before Volkanovski, stopped Max Holloway as well, and then went out there. Not only is he stopping them, Henry. Let's not forget here. Do we remember what made Conor a superstar? Besides the fact that obviously Conor was a superstar in everything that he did, but one of the biggest things that people loved that was crazy is Conor would tell you. He would tell you. He would tell you what I'm gonna get. I'll get him out of there in two. He would tell you what round he's gonna get you out of there. Illia Topuria said, I'm going to knock him out in the first round. I'm going to knock him out in the first round. And he went out there and, jeez, was that scary.
Yeah, literally Charles Oliveira's head bounced off the canvas, bro. Like that's how cold his hands are. That's how heavy they are. But it also, yeah, okay. So let's talk about it a little bit. After the fight, and this is where I feel like, because Demetrius Johnson's kind of making headwaves a little bit with some of his comments that the UFC is like, we all know this. We talk about it all the time. It's an entertainment company, but he's saying it's like a soap opera. It's like Paddy Pimblett. Eventually, Ilia knows what he wants. He brings in Paddy Pimblett inside the cage, which Dana White did not approve of it. He didn't like that idea. But again, Ilia, because he understands stylistically, Paddy, there's a storyline there. There's history there. But if you're to ask me, who is rightfully so the next best thing for a guy like Ilia? It is Arman Sarukian. Like, if we want to talk about who's if you're going to be the best of the best, and you want to challenge the best 155-pounder, it's Arman Sarukian. That's the guy that I feel like really deserves that next title shot, bro. I love Justin. Obviously, we're close with Justin, but Dana White slammed that door on Justin too. It's like, if you're thinking about retirement, then you probably should. So in other words, like Justin, like Dana White's pretty much making it public. He's making it public saying that if you're thinking about retirement, then you probably should retire. So will a guy like Dana White give Illia Topuria, for everything that he's done, give him the number 8 guy ranked in the world, or are we going to be fair and give it to the rightful number 1 contender? 'Cause I tell you what, Kamaru, Arman Sarukian, my way of thinking changes a little bit with Ilia, because everybody's hot on him. I don't know if he does that with a guy like Arman Sarukian, a guy that could wrestle, a guy that could. You know what I'm saying?
Look at you, flip flopping ass, huh?
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Did you not just call him the pound for pound number 1 best fighter in the world now?
I did. Not saying that he won't beat him. But I'm not saying that he won't beat him. But what I'm saying is,
well, we started talking about that.
Armin's not. He's a competitor, bro. He's been in there with Islam. He's had a close fight with him. Like, rightfully so. So what do you feel, Kamaru? Do you feel that if the UFC gives this fight to Paddy the Baddy, do you think that's the right thing? And obviously,
well, listen,
Justin's not going to get it, Kamaru. I think we both know that, dude.
Well, listen, it's a mess right now at 155 pounds. It's a mess.
A hot mess?
And it's a mess. And
when I say, is it a hot mess?
And there's it's a cold mess, but it's a mess. It's a mess in a way where, Henry, a lot of different things took place within the last year that created this mess. Justin decided, hey, UFC, you need me. I'm a company man. I'm going to take this fight versus Max Holloway, and I'm going to go out there and try to do something for y'all. Boom, the worst happens. That ruins that shot. Arman Tsarukyan is given an opportunity to fight for the belt. He doesn't make weight. That creates a mess. Then the champion, number one pound for pound, decides, you know what? I'm tired of being here. I'm leaving. That creates a bigger mess because now you've got a new guy that moves in, leaves his belt. Now you're throwing a new name into there who he hasn't fought any of those guys. So now you have a mess of who's next. Paddy Pimblett beat Michael Chandler, who was, I believe, number 8 or number 7 at the time. So Paddy Pimblett is now number 8. Yes, there's heat on this. And Henry, like you just mentioned, the UFC, this is an entertainment company. But at the same time, the reason the UFC is so great is because, hey, listen, we've had a lot of great boxers on this show. Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, who are both facing each other very soon. And hey, they both have said it. What makes the UFC so great is that because the best fights the best. And so it's very difficult to say, Paddy Pimblett, you're next up, when you haven't fought Arman Tsarukyan. You haven't fought Justin the Highlight Gaethje. You haven't fought Dustin Diamond Poirier. You haven't fought Charles Oliveira. That's difficult. You haven't fought Mateus Gamrot.
God, dude.
You haven't fought Moicano. You haven't fought Dariush.
Preach it. Preach it.
So it makes it very difficult to just say, because you got some heat, you could make some noise with this fight, we're just going to move you up to fight. We're going to let you skip Justin Gaethje, who potentially deserving of that fight, or Arman Tsarukyan, who potentially has proven that he's deserving of that fight. So I do think Paddy Pimblett still needs a fight or two to get there, because now there's a new champion. And when there's smoke, there's fire.
Okay. So how are you setting that up? Is Arman the next person in line? I mean, is Arman the next person in line? Like, we gotta. And then, what advice would you give to your boy Justin Gaethje, bro? Dana made it public. He's not playing, man. Like, he is not. Facts.
Listen. This is what I mean. It's a mess. Dana feels the exact same. It's a mess because it's very difficult to. I understand Arman Tsarukyan weighed in and as a backup or whatnot, but who cares? Who cares? I gave you a shot for you to weigh in. I put on a whole event, a beautiful event at one of the best arenas right now in the country,
in the world.
The newest, most modern arena that everyone says is like this. It's beautiful, and we gave you an event there, in pretty much in the place in the country where you have more supporters than anywhere, is California, and you don't make weight. That's a stain for the company, because think about it though. How much refund did they have to give out? Because you got to refund all these people back that bought pay-per-view ahead of time, and they said, "Oh, the fight's out. We want our money back." How much refund did they give back? So that doesn't make a company very, very happy. And can that company trust you? Because when it counted, you didn't make weight. Yes, of course, I believe Arman Tsarukyan, he's a handful for anybody. A handful. But I don't know if that was enough for Dana to say, all right, you're next. And as far as Justin Gaethje, Justin, you can't be making declarative statements like that. You can't be saying, not publicly. We can talk about that behind closed doors, and you can say that to Dana behind closed doors, or to Hunter, or to Mick, or to Sean Shelby behind closed doors. But to say it out in public, you put the UFC in a situation, in a place where you shouldn't put them, because listen, right now,
in the foot.
Yes, and right now we've learned no one is bigger than the company. The biggest stars they've ever had, we've moved on from them.
Okay, so
Anderson Silva, we moved on. George St. Pierre, we moved on. John Jones, we moved on. Conor McGregor, we moved on.
Yeah.
So hey, you can't put yourself in that shoe.
But
Henry Triple C Cejudo.
But check this out too, Kamar. So then I think this is how you matchmake it. If we're playing matchmakers, then it does have to be Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, and you do have to be fair and give it to Arman. Arman does deserve that shot, bro. Like, straight up, anybody and their damn mama will tell you this exact same thing. He deserves it. I think that's the fight to really, to really claim stake as a 2 division champ. Because again, you win the belt is when you defend it. That just puts a stamp on it. That there's a seal now to it. So, but other than that, bro,
Okay,
Ilya,
but look, they're kind of done favors for the UFC. Who's done more than Justin Gaethje as far as favors?
yeah, I get that, but you're not.
He stepped in and he's done, and then he came back in. Listen, and he said, "Okay, fine, I'll take another fight. I'll fight Dan Hooker." All right, that's a big fight. They put that on the card, and Dan Hooker falls out. Last minute, they said, "Hey, fight this dangerous guy again. That's number 11 that you've already fought."
Yeah.
And Justin says, "Hey, for you guys, for the company, I'll put it on the line again." And he went out there, and let's be honest, that was the main event.
I get that. I get Kamara, but that's also not realistic, bro. The UFC moves on, bro. There's new news, there's hot takes, there's fucking that's just the way it is. But other than that, man, congratulations to Ilya. Ilya is officially, in my eyes, pound for pound for what he's doing. And I think there's a way that you should be ranking pound for pound through stats and through numbers. And the simple fact that Ilya's been able to put people out and nobody has gone championship rounds with them says a lot about him. That nobody has gone pound for pound with him. But then the other guy that I feel like they really got to respect, and let's talk about Alexandre Pantoja. Pantoja, bro, 4 title defense. 3 out of the 4. No. All 4 of them, I want to say they were finishes. I mean, this dude is finishing people. I'm sorry, his last 2 have all been submissions. I mean, talk about somebody that really needs to get that respect, man. We talk about pound for pound, as ironically that our podcast is named Pound for Pound. He has to be top 4, top 5. Jack Della Magdalena should not be ahead of him. This is what I'm saying, bro. This is why, like the pound for pound stuff, like your marriage should speak louder than people's opinions. You know what I'm saying? Go out there and win. Go out there and beat people. Show me what you're doing in that octagon. And I feel like Pantoja has been doing that. I think he's got to raise hell, because it's not cool that they pretty much keep the flyweights like they don't exist almost. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what your take is on that, but other than that, it was a flawless performance against Kai Kara France. I mean, back take. I mean, talk about having a awkward style and having the ability to just find his way to finish.
Yeah, that's a good point, Henry. I do think what is Pantoja right now in the
9 9 with
okay. So I do think that's a bit of bit disrespectful to have him that low, because when I think of, listen, we talk about it all the time, Henry. When we think of pound for pound, we're thinking about if at any given moment you were the same weight as everybody there, would your style translate? Would you get it done in impressive fashion? Could you get it done? And Alexandre Pantoja, I don't think, is the 9th guy on that list that could potentially get it done. So I do think a reason why the flyweights don't necessarily get slid up higher up on that list, because there's an aspect to the game where not many of them possess the ability to put you out with one shot. And I think that's what a lot of people look at and go, oh, well, you don't have any power, or you don't have the power to put a guy out with one shot. So yeah, we'll keep you down on the list, even though they exemplify all the skills. Like, look at Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson had every skill at a very, very high level back in the day. And, it took time. He took how many title defenses? What, 13, 12, just to even be there? So, yeah, it's I think that's a component to it. But I definitely don't think he's 9th, because Pantoja has been doing his job. I mean, he came out. Listen, I'm a fan of almost every fighter. Almost keyword, every fighter. And almost every fighter. And Kai Kara France, I didn't think, I wasn't sold on him being the number 1 contender for this fight. Like he's dangerous. I love the fact that that little guy can put you out with his follow. He throws a shot and he cleans you up, and I like that. But I didn't think he was number one contender, Henry, because because he what was he on a 2-fight losing streak, and then he gets the win over Steve Arce, and then he gets the shot.
Yeah, I
I
I
think,
spoke to Mick about that, and I was like, "How come? Why don't you
yeah,
guys? They've already like, dude. When Pantoja fought Manal Cobb, dude, that fight was so competitive. A lot of people thought Manal beat him, and
exactly.
Manal,
And Manel has looked great, with the exception of the Moicano fight. Has looked great. Manel is dynamic. Manel is strong. He's got power. He can grapple. I mean, I thought that should have been a fight, but unfortunately, I think the company wanted to kind of see him one more time. They wanted to see him get that stain of that Moicano fight off of him, and which is why they scheduled him and Roy Val for that co-main for that number one contender fight. But unfortunately, Manel was injured, and Manel had to fall out. But boy, when opportunity knocks, Jesus, you got to take advantage. And I told you, H-Town, dog. I don't even know if that's the signal, but H-Town, baby, we in this thing. Joshua Van came through, and Joshua Van showed out. Henry, what were you saying about Joshua Van again, huh?
yeah, he I mean, he could be a potential threat to a guy like Pantoja. These are the type of guys that the flyweight needs. They need guys like Josh Van. They need guys like Manal Kopp. They need either an exciting style or someone that just has a mouthpiece. This is why I feel like the best thing that could happen to the flyweights is for a guy like Manal Kopp to be healthy and then to fight the best competitors in there, or even Josh Van. Like his style is very fan favorite, man. Like this dude gained maybe about 100,000 followers like overnight because people really love the show that him and Roy Vol put together, dude. And we also got to credit Roy Vol too, man. It wasn't just Josh Van because Roy Vol also pressed and he brought the fire, bro. He was actually winning the whole fight until the very.
I thought it was closer than I thought. I thought the fight was closer than that. I mean, 30-27.
Yeah, that's
But
ridiculous.
that one judge had it 30-27. I'm
Yeah,
like, come
no.
on, bro.
To me, it all came down to the third. And it was that last
Right.
minute where Josh Van just started catching more right hands, and then he buckled them at the very end. So the right decision was made. Some of these judges, though, it's ridiculous. I can't wait till AI really comes in and starts judging these fights. Seriously, man, because it's absolutely ridiculous. But other than that, man, they're scheduling the 23-year-old young buck against Alexandre Pantoja, and I think that's the fight that they're probably going to put him in a co-main event and probably in a big fight, and I think that's very doable. I think both of these guys are going to bring in fireworks, but I also feel like, I mean, it's hard to deny Pantoja, man, with his grappling and his back take. I mean, these are one areas, but I will say this about Josh Van: he's a sprawl and brawl type of guy, and Pantoja be leading with that head a little bit too much, and he becoming a little too linear. If Josh Van's able to time a nice little uppercut, dude, we could hear NU.
100%. That's a possibility. Listen, I'm a fan of Joshua Van. I think he should be the Burmese nightmare. That's how much of a fan of him I am. Um, but there are areas where he still kind of struggles. Obviously, lately we haven't seen those because he's been putting hands on these guys. But there are areas where he does potentially struggle, and I think Pantoja is great in those areas. Obviously, Joshua Van has the pop because, like I mentioned earlier, the reason a lot of they might not be putting that respect on Pantoja's name is because they don't feel like he has that one shot pop to stop you. Joshua Van does, and I think if someone like Joshua Van or Manel Kopp was able to get that fight, it's a big fight. It now is a fight that could potentially stand alone to headline a card. But Pantoja it's just well rounded. The way he sits, like he shut Kai Kara France down. Like Kai Kara France couldn't even get thrown more than 2 strikes. Every time he would try to lead with a jab and a 2, Pantoja would throw a 1-2-3, 1-2, low kick, shot. Like he had no, and it just kind of started ducking. He didn't get a chance to get off,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know. And so
and
I think he might be able to do that to Joshua Van as well. So I like that fight. I want to see that fight, but I don't. It's hard to bet against Pantoja right
yeah, no, it is hard. And then you think of a guy like Brandon Moreno, who has fought him. I want to say they fought 4 times already. Like they legit have fought 4 times. Like the more that Pantoja stays as champion, the less that a lot of these guys who have had opportunity with them, they just don't get their shot. Like same thing with Royval. Royval and him already fought twice. Like you know what I'm saying? They're all 0 and nobody has beaten Pantoja. The only one that the only one that could potentially come back to bring a storyline is Figgy. Davis and Figueiredo. Davis and Figueiredo talked about potentially going back down to 125 pounds, and I'll tell you what, man, he put the brakes on Pantoja. If you watch that fight, Kamaru, like Davis and Figueiredo hurt Pantoja. I was surprised that he did. The fight wasn't stopped and he wasn't knocked out. But that's a true testament on what Alexandre Pantoja is. It couldn't happen to a better human, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see when that fight's going to take place. And you know, from driving Ubers, from doing deliveries, from being a dishwasher, Alexandre Pantoja, to now the top 5, top 4 best pound for pound fighters in the world right now.
Yeah, Henry, it's something to be said about the resilience of man, of a man, a real man, and you go out there and you get it. I don't mind. It doesn't matter how many things you have to do before you go out there and live your purpose. You go out there and you work for it. If I have to take 3 jobs right now to help my family or do whatever I'm going to do, I'm doing that while I'm still chasing my purpose. That's what makes this journey so much sweeter, is the ability to be able to do that. Because now you're sitting at the top of the mountain, you're going, damn, I used to wash dishes. You come into the restaurant, you used to wash dishes. You start looking around like, man, I should buy this motherfucker right now. I buy this motherfucker. Y'all say something else, I'll fire everybody in here right now. You know, you start like that. That's that feel good feeling when you get there. It makes it all worth it. So, man, incredible story from all these guys. Pantoja, even Joshua Van, just bought his mama a house. Like all these things, incredible story. And like you mentioned earlier, like we can't take anything away from Brandon Royval. What a fight. I mean, he landed. I want to know how many damn jabs he landed, especially in that third round. He was just sticking them, pop, 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 jab. You know, fantastic from Brandon Royval. A great fight. I think obviously now you still make that fight, Royval versus Manel Kape, for who gets that next shot after Joshua Van.
Tomorrow, let's take a short break to thank our partners at Factor. It's summertime, baby. That means more sun, more pool parties, and less clothes.
Henry, you know what you don't want to be stuck doing, and that's spending hours cooking inside, sweating it out in the kitchen.
And that's where Factor comes in, Kamaru Dean. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in 2 minutes. So you can eat clean without the damn hassle.
Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle. And within 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet dishes from breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even guilt-free snacks and dessert.
They have options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Vegan, and Protein Plus. That's the one I use. And if you want to look like Triple C, then you should too.
That was super cringe, my brother. But, you know, last summer I had a little stomach thing. So this summer having the vegan option has definitely been a game changer.
Yep, that's right. This summer, Factor has you covered with all flavors and none of the fuss.
To sign up, go to factormeals.com/P4P50off and use the promo code pound for pound P4P50OFF to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
That's code P4P50OFF at factormeals.com for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Now, let's get back to the episode.
first and foremost, did we even notice that this was a small man card? No one was over the highest weight class on that card was a lightweight. Everyone was a lightweight, bantamweights. Like that was what was on there.
Two
So
flyweights,
and these guys, flyweights, bantamweights, and these guys delivered. I mean, look at the other lightweight fight that was on the card. Beneil Dariush taking on Moicano. Like I said, Moicano has definitely grown on me a lot. You know, I like him a lot, and I think he's good for the division.
I called this one tomorrow.
But Beneil Dariush showed that he still has it.
I thought he was. I thought he was going to be. I thought this was his last fight tomorrow.
I heard that rumor too, but when you go out there and you perform like that, it's hard to walk away. He said, "Man, I'm gonna keep doing this." I was shocked too. I was like, "Okay,
yeah."
So I mean, but he looked good. He looked good because after the first round, Moicano's offense was almost non-existent.
Yeah.
Like he stopped throwing. He just kind of was walking, and Beneil was just kind of putting, little things out there. But after that beautiful right hand that Money Moicano landed that first round, and shows how tough Beneil Dariush is. Beneil was able to grab that single leg and kind of survive. After that, man, Moicano was non-existent to where I think Beneil just kind of cruised to round 2 and 3. And he kind of cruised to the win.
Yeah, but Money Moicano's got a big hole, bro, and it's just as cool an entertainment that he could be. Like everybody's gonna expose that side. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gonna try to expose that side of you fight, boom, you take him down. And it's ironic that he plays a jiu-jitsu game. He closes his guard. Like, man, like the base of MMA is to get the hell up to your feet. And I just don't feel like, and I feel like with a guy like Beneil Dariush has a win over Gamrot, bro. Like Gamrot has a win over Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, Beneil he's got it, man. I'm excited to see what's next for him. But other than that, the fight that really stood out for me and that I was super impressed by was Payton Talbott. I mean, Talbott right now, man, what he was able to do to a guy like Lima, in particular what happened to him in his last fight, and the simple fact that he was able to kind of dominate that fight. It was a good fight. But it was all Payton Talbott, man. He beat the undefeated guy in Felipe Lima, and he had him going backwards the whole time. And he's got a style, Kamaru, that it's a bitch, man. It's a son of a bitch. You know what I'm saying? There's no other plan. I'm gonna press you. I might eat some right hands, but I'm okay. But I'm gonna. And Joe Rogan kind of said on the podcast, which he said it live. He says Payton Talbott's his style of fighting is like, do what you want to do to me, but I got to get mine in. Like that's the type of style that he has, and it was all Payton Talbott, dude. It was all Talbott's pressure, his ability to defend takedowns, something that he didn't do his last fight, his ability to get up, and also the ability of getting fucking reversals. I mean, you talk about a kid that is Payton's come out. He's come out to Arizona to learn from me. This dude is fucking good, man. He is a threat at anybody at 135 pounds. His future is bright as fuck.
No, I thought it was a fantastic fight. Really. Like I said, of course, when you first look at the card, you're like, Payton Talbott, this kid just got beat up his last fight, and you want to throw him on the main card. But shout out to Sean Hunter Campbell. Shout out to Sean Shelby. Shout out to Mick Maynard. You guys did a phenomenal job putting these fights together. As a owner of a fight promotion, I understand how important it is for you to put a card together and just have it come together and have the fights deliver to where people leave that arena going, damn it, I can't wait to the next UFC. And that's what we saw on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no, for sure.
You look at this fight, you go, oh, Lima? I don't really know him like that. Payton Talbott, this kid just got beat.
Yeah.
You don't think this fight is going to be a great fight, but that fight delivered. But Henry, here's where I disagree with you. You said, it was all Payton Talbott. I definitely disagree.
Maybe round one?
I think Lima was fighting a great fight. Lima was putting some things on Payton Talbott. And listen, I love his style. It's very fan-friendly with Payton Talbott. But this is the wrong sport. This is the wrong league to do that. to just come in with disregard for what your opponent's throwing back at you. He ate some good right hands that with a little bit more oomph, he might have been asleep. You can't have that disregard like that. You have to make sure that you're able to protect yourself all the time. And Lima did a great job. I think Lima was landing. Lima was winning some of the exchanges. But Payton just slowly got bigger and bigger and bigger and walks you down. And eventually he starts landing. And then now you start to see opponents make mistakes. So I believe the hype, Henry. I agree with you. One of the biggest things that I thought he improved on was his grappling, because he got dominated last fight with the grappling. But he came in and he dominated the grappling. That is a fast turnaround. He was able to flip that and change it that quick and show that, hey, I can go work on that grappling and I will be better. So, man, believe the hype. I do think Payton, and that spinning back heel was beautiful. I do think Payton Talbott is going to be a force in this division, 100%. So, I mean, man, Henry, all the fights delivered. And remember when we talked about it in the preview, I said, that's the first fight on the main card. And they put Jack Hermanson versus RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez as the feature prelim. And I said, okay, you know what? I see what I've seen this before. I know what the UFC are doing, because you want to have a banger close out that prelim to get everybody excited for that pay-per-view. Get your pay-per-views now. Mash that button. After you watch a feature prelim like that, you're mashing that buy button. I got to see more fights. And wow, did Gregory Rodriguez deliver. I mean, jeez. On Jack Hermanson, too.
That's serious power, bro. RoboCop is fucking RoboCop.
And come on. Like, I know there was talks about this online, but come on, referee. Come on. You cannot slow up. You can't go up in there like that, slow like that, man. Come on. He didn't need that one. I don't blame Gregory Rodriguez at all, because you don't want to give your opponent a chance to get up and stay in the fight. But come on, his head bounced off the canvas. He's out, arms stiff. Referee, come on.
Yeah.
Scream. Do whatever you got to do. Scream. Stop. Do what you got to do before you get there. You can't let him take that extra shot,
Yeah.
Henry. How did you see
No,
that?
no, of course, but I mean, Rodriguez has to do what he's got to do, man.
100%. I don't blame Rodriguez.
I feel like sometimes he's kind of lazy with this, like
hesitant, right?
Yeah,
he's hesitant to try to
crouch down, motherfucker, like run. Like it's almost, you know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, but that's a whole nother subject that I ain't trying to get into.
He ran when me and Macedon was fighting. He ran, but then he ran there. But then you kind of was soft with getting me off him, because there's that viral picture of him running, but he kind of, you kind of was soft getting me off him, and I had to land a couple more shots to completely shut the lights out, So it's, I get it. He's trying not to he's trying to give that guy who fell, who hit the canvas, potential chance if he's awake and try to fight back, but come on.
Yeah,
man.
no, for sure. Well, there's some, the other one that, obviously we can't go through all of them because we'll be here all day. They're all good fights, but the guy that really is making headways, bro, he's super talented, and he's already done 2 people up in the UFC, is Jose Miguel Delgado. I mean, Kamaru, this dude just beat the undefeated Emil, who was undefeated at that time, and the way he stopped him in the first round. I mean, dude, talk about a dude at 145 pounds that has a bright future, bro. That next generation it's like knocking Payton Talbott. We got Jose Delgado, man, putting people out with knees. I mean, talk about things that deserve 50 G's, bro. It was so hard for the UFC to really hand out those bonuses. But
way too hard,
man. Like, think about it. This beautiful knockout did not get a bonus. That's how great the card was. I mean, talk about the fight card of the damn year. I mean, everything delivered, Kamaru. It was a freaking spectacle, and this is why the UFC is growing, Kamaru, and this is why the UFC also needs to stay away from the Apex, because when you give people these experiences, bro, they'll continue to keep coming. They'll continue to keep paying. They'll continue to keep wanting to see this thing live. So I hope the UFC at one point realize and just does away and just keeps a contender maybe at the apex. That's it. But I don't think us fighters belong in a little venue that I mean, I'll fight regardless. To me, it's never really been about the crowd, but to grow but for the sake of the sport and the growth of the sport. Dana's right. Mixed martial arts is going to become the biggest sport in the world.
Absolutely, I agree with that because it's what all humans do naturally. So it's definitely gonna be there. Um, well, man, I mean, so many things, so many questions, so many things were answered this weekend. Peyton Tablet, I think, for him moving forward, I think the UFC just they have to move him right. Don't try to rush him too much. Don't try. But I know that's these guys. They get it. They win a couple fights, and then they're like, "Nah, give me the top five. I'm ready for the top five of the division." Then they get up there and they get beat up. They realize I'm not ready, and I've set myself back a couple more years. So I think they just need to move him right. Move him right. Don't throw him to a vet like Barcelos or whatever the guy that just beat the Brazilian that just beat him up the last fight. Don't throw him to that type of fight yet. Give him time to still grow in. Let him really work on every aspect of the game, and the same, uh, you know, the same goes for that this young guy. I mean, what a finish! What a finish! But it was very, very difficult for them to pick. I mean, you got Ilia, you got the Roy Val. I think there was at least three fights yesterday that I was like, man, could have been fight of the night. So fantastic fights. Um, Henry, I'm it's listen, earlier, right at the beginning of the year, we were like, man, the UFC struggling with stars, like stuff is struggling. What's going on? Bro, what Hunter Campbell and Sean and Dana and Mick have done in the last couple of months, they've been working because now we're looking at these young guys going, man, these are next stars. These are stars coming up here. And so, man, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see what the next, I want to say, 6 months looks like for the UFC. It's going to be bananas.
Yeah. Well,
But
let's
Henry,
get the questions to the casual. Come on.
before we go, of course, as always, we got to jump onto the question from a casual. And this week's question from a casual, Henry, if you could pick any opponent for your last fight in the octagon, who would it be?
I'd say Conor McGregor. Nice payday. The duo gas out in about fucking 2 minutes. That's simple. And you make a payday. And red panty night. Go ahead, your turn. Maybe with a little bit of cinnamon stains, but yeah.
Jeez, that's a tough one, Henry. Of course, Conor McGregor will be high on the list as well because, listen, no matter all the ups and downs, all the different things that Conor goes through, Conor is still the biggest name we've ever heard in this sport. And for your last fight, you would want to go out with a bang. And so, yeah, Conor McGregor definitely will be on the top of that list. But there's other guys too. I would have loved to fight a guy like Cowboy Cerrone because Cowboy Cerrone was just a fun fighter, man. Just fun. He was so good. And even when you took him down, he was nasty on his back. He throws up arm bars, and you wouldn't think that for a country boy, but he threw up arm bar. He was nasty on his back. Cowboy was really, I thought that would have been a fun fight. But man, right now, maybe Covington again because of that trilogy, because of that fight that we've had, those fights that we've had.
Yeah,
But
no, I don't want to see that.
yeah, you don't want to see that. You
No,
sure?
no, but just to end it here, yeah. If it's my weight class, yeah, I'd love to. I would love to get it back with Marab, dude. Even if he didn't have the belt, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
wow.
that would be one of them. But at this point,
Yeah.
dude,
No, I
it's
feel
it's different. It's different. When you're champion, you have a lot more leverage. But now it's you're given what you're told. I mean, you do what you're told. I'm sorry.
yeah. Well, Henry, Tons of great interviews this last week. Got tons of great interviews coming up for you guys. You guys got to stay tuned. Stay tuned. But as always, Henry, I am the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
We are out.